Hello and welcome to Morality, your junior theology class. This is Miss Boileau, and this is our new normal, giving you additional educational lecture content material through video and so forth. So here we are, and I am blessed to be able to start off with this beautiful view of Lake Superior at the top of the UP and Grand Marais Bay, introducing you to some concepts in morality. So let's get started. Morality. St. Thomas Aquinas defined morality as how we who are gifted by God ought to live. It's a great definition. How we who are gifted by God. So it acknowledges a belief in God, and that's what morality is about. Morality is actually authored by God. It's a code of human behavior. Morality is a truth that comes from God. Morality is a truth that helps us to become the person God is calling us to be, to live our life the way God is calling us to live our life. Morality is really similar to ethics. Ethics is also a code of human behavior, but ethics is determined by people, social groups of people. People determine what is ethical and what is unethical. Morality is determined by God. It's a truth that transcends anything that we can come up with, anything that we believe, anything that our feelings tell us about. And speaking of feelings, let's look at some of the characteristics of morality. And we can compare those characteristics to ethics, for example. Okay? Morality, oh, there's a boat coming in. We'll get to see a boat come in our picture here in just a minute. And we'll listen to it. You can probably hear it on the video. Coming into the bay between the breakwalls. There you go. Hello. Morality. Characteristics of morality. Morality is not subjective. Well, that's different. Subjective. Subjective means based on the subject, if you will. A subjective opinion. When something is subjective, it's biased. It is subject to my preferences, to my opinion, what I like, what I think, or a group. Morality is not subjective. Morality is an objective truth. Morality is an objective reality, as a matter of fact. It is not subjective. It doesn't depend on my opinion or on the opinion of others. Let's talk about the moral truth of murder as an example. Murder, the willful, deliberate taking of a human life without provocation or cause. That's a basic definition of the word murder. Well, murder is wrong. Murder is against a commandment. So as a matter of morality, we know that murder is wrong. That's a moral truth. But murder isn't wrong because I think it's wrong. See, that would be my subjective opinion. I happen to believe that murder is wrong, so my opinion lines up with the objective truth of murder. But murder isn't wrong because I think it's wrong, or because the United States thinks it's wrong and has a law against it in every state, right? Murder isn't wrong because hundreds of millions of people, even billions of people, think it's wrong. That's not what makes murder wrong, because if that were true, if murder were only wrong because we say it's wrong, well, then we could change that. And in some countries, they do. Some countries murder their citizens, and they don't consider it murder because they've decided it's not. Whereas the moral truth about murder is it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you believe in your heart. It doesn't matter what other people say. It's a moral truth. You see, it transcends. Human beings can never make murder okay. The willful, deliberate taking, intentional taking of a human life without provocation or cause, it can never be made okay based on what human beings say or think or believe. Morality is not subjective. It is an objective reality. Now we've got somebody who's going to walk in front of the car. Hello. You don't have to sign a release form because, well, I don't know who you are, and you're gone already. And now Rollo's in the background growling because he hears you walking. But okay, back to morality in Lake Superior. Morality, authored by God, not subjective, a code of human behavior. And we just used one example, but there are lots. Morality isn't easy. It never has been. Morality as a guide to being that person God is calling us to be goes against what other people are telling us sometimes. It goes against our feelings sometimes. It goes against what we desire or want to do or have. It isn't easy. It never has been. But it's what God gives us in order to become the person that God is calling us to be. You compare that with ethics, for example. Ethics. Lawyers determine what is ethical and what is not ethical based on the law. Right? That's determined by lawyers, and it can change. For a long time, it was unethical for lawyers to advertise. There were no lawyers advertising on television. That was unethical. But then lawyers determined, and now we have some more people walking on the break wall. Hello, enjoying the day. Nope, don't fall off. Lawyers determined, I don't remember, but it's a long time ago, probably at least 25, 30 years ago, even somewhere in there, lawyers decided, well, you know what, they can advertise on television. They can advertise on radio. They can advertise if you've had a slip or a fall. But for a long time, they determined that wasn't ethical. That wasn't an ethical legal practice. Physicians determine ethics. Physicians determine ethics for what is acceptable in the medical field. It is determined that a physician ethically and legally can't treat their own family members. That's not ethical. But see, human beings determined that. It wasn't ethical. Human beings determined that. A sad part of our history, but true, and an example of ethics, for a very long time, it was unethical for people of different races to marry one another. That was considered unethical. In some states, it was considered illegal, depending on the race, right? That was unethical. Couldn't do that. And it was also illegal. But that was changed. Those are laws that change. For a long time, smoking was perfectly okay everywhere. People smoked everywhere. Didn't think anything about that. They didn't see anything wrong with that. They smoked in grocery stores. They smoked in hospitals, for goodness sakes. They smoked in public. They smoked at your high school graduation. They smoked in movie theaters. People, smoking cigarettes, they didn't see anything wrong with that. They didn't know any better for a long time, and then the medical community caught up and said, hey, we've determined through scientific studies and medical studies and facts, that's bad for you. That's really prohibitive for your health. It can cause cancer. And so we changed our behavior. We changed our belief in that. It's certainly not ethical these days to smoke in a public place, to smoke in a grocery store. That's unsanitary, it's unethical, it's also illegal. But see, that's an example of a belief, of a belief of right and wrong that changed. You know, when I was a kid, if you were to say to somebody who was smoking in public, that's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be exposing other people to your secondhand smoke. You would have been laughed at, you would have been thought of as a kook. What's wrong with you? There was nothing that was perceived as wrong with that, right? But now we know better and we've changed. We understand that's wrong. Like I said, it is not only unethical, but it's illegal in most places, certainly public places in the United States. Moral truth never changes, folks. It never changes. It's never going to be okay to murder someone. Using that as an example, it's never going to be okay. It's never going to be okay to lie, to willfully deceive someone. It's never going to be okay to steal, to take something that doesn't belong to you. That's never going to change. People might try to convince themselves, well, that's okay. There's nothing immoral or wrong with stealing or lying, but that's simply not true. They're kidding themselves. So I'm going to stop here. I want to keep these to about 15 minutes, and we'll have several of them, but this is just an introductory look at some of the characteristics of morality. Thanks for listening. I hope you were taking notes, Falcons. We'll see you and talk to you soon.